It's Mad along with Goo. Today we're going to come back and we promised we will be back
I'll be back.
and talk about Uber Killing Machine, which is one of the better machines out there and a very good unit. But should you pull, stay tuned. All right, Uber Killing Machine, inorganic attacker, top end unit. Leadership effect is a little disappointing. Increases inorganic defense by 30%. Not really super useful compared to a lot of others. This is probably the biggest downfall of the unit. But all in all, a very good unit outside of that. Its first awakening skill gives you movement +1. So if you go for Uber Killing Machine, you really want that awakening as well. This really helps Uber Killing Machine, but in a way, uh, the zero can kind of be used around it with the gear change, which increases speed and mobility for 3 turns. So it's not as important as a lot of others that get to +1, but still, it's a really big boost. The second and fourth are the resistances, Frizz and Sam, respectively. The 31 gives a counter when attacked and overdrive power +5, and will allow a double attack for the fifth one, aka if it is within range and you attack another unit with it, it will try to do another attack with it and gives overdrive +5. It's not like a lot of the others where it gave everything +5, but overdrive is the main overall skill. But the real problem is the counter and the double attack. How often are actually you're going to be using it? That's the bigger question because of the fact, honestly, you're going to want to keep Uber Killing Machine away. So I'm not so sure how really useful those are, other than when a unit's trying to kill them. But a lot of units also use within range. So it sounds really great, but it's not as great as it really is. Talked about gear change, which is really good because the speed and mobility really allow you to move around a lot more. And on top of it, that agility can get really high and it becomes really hard to hit. The second one, Ice Blade, very good crackle skill. Killing machines are the top physical crackle damage users. This is no exception. And the last skill, Overdrive, uh, is a very nice skill that allows you to move up front. This will allow you to do the counter and double attack if they stop within the range. It does 300% sizzle physical damage and allows you to move up 2 squares, but it can't be used if enemies or obstacles are in the way. So think of like Elena, very similar type skill. And just to kind of go through this, with this unit, it can take hits. Its HP and defense are pretty massive. The HP is a little low compared to the rest of its stats, other than wisdom, which you don't care about. The MP 336 max, you've got 108 here, so the overdrive, but you're really only going to be able to use overdrive once for the most part. And this is another issue with the unit. The skills are great, but it doesn't have any skills that surround itself. And so you're going to want to actually put on a skill that is a single attack because you're going to get through this. Uh, on top of it, let's see here. The attack, though, and defense are absolutely fantastic. Agility is pretty top notch, too. It is a weight of 50. And if you get that +1, you get movement 3. Very good unit. But the preferred weapon, it doesn't get its own weapon, which is another very small knock. And this unit's going to, I won't say die by 1,000 cuts, but it will be slowed by 1,000 cuts because Jessica's coming out within the next month, and she is just that much better of a unit. Uber Killing, though, is in the top 10 to 15, kind of depending on where exactly you rate him. I put him around 14th, 15th. I know a lot of other players put him around 9, 10. So he's still a very good unit. And if you love the killing machines, it's going to be a pretty good unit to pull. The Flail of Destruction is from a previous event. If you don't have the Flail of Destruction, you're going to use the Metal Sword. Uh, this gives attack plus 40. The Metal Sword gives you more HP, but gives you a little bit more physical overall. And the skills for the Flail is attack, HP, and MP, just like a lot of the others. Uh, but as I say with the Uber Killing Machine, another weakness is he doesn't have his own weapon that you could just give. And so if you're using the Flail of Destruction and the Metal Sword with other slightly more powerful units, you might start not really having a great weapon for Uber Killing Machine, but that's okay. Skills are these are actually something that you might be interested in using. Blunt is really useful for Uber Killing Machine because it starts becoming nearly immortal if you really reduce the power of one enemy. But I would suggest either doing Daunting Slash or Attack Attacker. These do physical damage and occasionally lower attack. I think those are really good skills for Uber Killing Machine. With its attack, even though it's 130% physical damage, you'll get it up there to about 180. It does do a good amount of damage with that, and getting that lowered attack just really makes life a lot easier for survival overall. Pro cons pull, as I say, the stats are fantastic for the attacker with HP, defense, agility, and attack, all great. Uh, very unique in that regards. He can increase his own speed and mobility, which is also very useful. The counter is nice and can chase, which is also nice, but it's not as useful as a lot of other people would think. Yes, with overdrive, you'll move it there, and so if they attack you one on one, you will counter. But all in all, you won't use it as much as you would think. Its unique skill, beginning of battle, increases attack power and physical resistance, which means that if you can get it to overdrive, it will do a lot of damage. And then if people attack it, especially physically, it has a decent amount of physical resistance and can keep countering and becomes very annoying to kill. From an arena standpoint, depending on how you do things, you should be actually able to use them very well, just like Killing Machine. And another pro that I don't have on here, physical crackle skill. Those are very rare. Just the Killing Machines really have them in spades. He's got the best one out of all of them. Cons can struggle with melee. Basically, if he's one on one and he gets trapped, he can't use any of its skills. So don't get trapped. All the skills are ranged. And the other things that I have, as I said, don't have a weapon that's specifically built for it. So it kind of lowers some of its other skills. It's just a bunch of small. It's great, but it's great there. All in all, it's still a very good unit. Will I pull? No, but the main reason is Jessica's coming within probably 3 weeks. So I'm not going to be pulling very hard for Uber Killing Machine. Still a very top tier attack unit all around, and a still top 10 to 15 unit in JP. So if you really want Uber Killing Machine, there is no reason not to get it. It is a very good unit. It stays very good. Even with a whole bunch of the blossoming going through it, it still is very much in the top tiers there. So, all in all, very good unit. What is the A unit with the killing machine? It's King Crab. In Japan, it was Killer Crab, and I kind of like that name better than King Crab, but that's what we get. Its skills are very interesting. It oomps, so it can greatly increase power of one unit. It also has molting, which allows you to increase its own attack power and movement, but lowers its defense for 3 turns. So it kind of becomes a interesting unit where it could really buff itself out, but its only attack is called Flash Asleep. It causes 195 physical damage to all enemies, which is actually really good for an A unit, but occasionally puts you to sleep. It does kind of get useful once it does its fifth awakening, which allows for HP recovery, which is still a double edged sword. And actually becomes a bit more useful then, but until then, it's not really a great unit because, yes, it could buff itself up, it could buff other units by itself, but its biggest issue is the big attack it does can put yourself to sleep, which really hurts you down the line and can kind of keep it out of the fight. It's an RNG. Its stats are pretty good. Its agility is actually fair for being a crab at 332. Its HP is good at 932 and defense 457. With molting, it can survive as it doing one molting, but if you do multiple moltings, then it becomes basically a glass cannon, even with its defense. But on top of it, the First Awakening does increase the movement to 3, so it does have pretty good movement. So is it the worst unit? No. It's an odd unit. It has its juices. You're going to want to add another attack skill. The Flash of Sleep, too, is non elemental, which allows it to be used on all enemies, but in all honesty, I'd rather have seen it to have an element than this unit would have been a little bit better overall. So I hope you guys enjoy. I'm going to be posting a few more videos in the next couple of days, and I do apologize to everybody. It's been a really, really busy week for me, and I will be posting, and they will be coming in spurts, so I do apologize. But I hope you guys all enjoy. Y'all have a good night, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye.